Hello. Hello, and welcome back to a part 2 of the Medeek BIM tutorial number 2. And my name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and we will basically be starting right off where we left, and that is with this garage model that we've been working on. So, as I've been sitting here looking at this, just taking a little break before I started the part 2, I noticed there was a few things that we needed to address before we got onto the roof. So first things first, let's take a look at our wall. And as you noticed, we had this framing detail, and notice that we have this pressure treated bottom plate. It's shown as green, but typically they're not so green anymore. We use a different treatment for that. So basically we just need to edit these walls and update that. And we could use the wall copy tool, or we could just click edit at any time and go to a pressure treated bottom plate. So I'm going to click that and just hit update on that. And now you can see that we've got ourselves a pressure treated bottom plate shown. So we can just do that for each wall. Click edit wall assembly, go here to pressure treated bottom plate, click yes, and hit update, and that is done. I'm just going to go here and edit wall assembly. Sorry, it's taking me a little bit here to do this, but I just want to walk you through step by step. Okay, last one here. Edit wall assembly, pressure treated bottom plate. Click yes, hit update. And there we have it. Okay, so now we've got that all squared away. The next thing I want to point out is that we've got these anchor bolts in the way, right? And I've actually gone ahead and dropped another one there, but I'm going to drop another one here. One thing to note, though, is that if, for instance, I click into this group and I can delete these instances of the anchor bolts, okay? Now, if I were to edit the slab on grade foundation with the edit function and make some changes, doesn't matter, and then hit update, and I'll go ahead and hit update. Notice what happens. So that anchor bolt that we removed reappeared because basically it's regenerating, the plugin is regenerating all the geometry. So if you're going to make manual edits, certain manual edits, like for instance subtracting certain geometry, then basically what I suggest is wait until you're at the very kind of end of editing that assembly, and then you can make a few kind of last minute minor modifications. And then of course, if you don't edit it again with the plugin, then you have what you have. So we're kind of breaking the parametrics a little bit by having to move some of these anchor bolts around, but that's really the only major one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in here. Sorry, I jumped a little too far. I'm just going to grab this guy right here, and I'm going to move it over here. Let's go a little more than 3, maybe 39 inches maybe. And then I am going to put the word custom in that description. And I could re-enumerate my anchor bolt, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. The reason why I do that is because, again, just like the wall assemblies, the foundation assemblies have the ability to have custom objects placed into them. So now if I were to accidentally regenerate this foundation assembly, which I'm going to do right now, you'll notice that, yes, that anchor bolt reappeared, but these anchor bolts, these 2 custom anchor bolts that have the custom keyword in them, did not disappear. So if I were to accidentally, redo that, it's as simple then as just deleting the geometry rather than having to recreate more geometry. Okay, so let's go over here now to this wall and take a look what we've got. Same sort of thing going on. We've got 2 anchor bolts floating around in here, and we've got quite a bit of anchorage there. I would say that one anchor bolt's good enough as it is. Maybe drop an anchor bolt here, maybe drop one more anchor bolt there. So let's do this. Let's just delete that one, delete that one, take this one, here, 3 foot 11 inches. Just trying to come up with, I'm using just general dimensions that are kind of standard, not fractional little bits and pieces, just to keep things kind of clean and nice. You don't have to do that, of course, but that's just me being a little bit obsessive, I guess. And then let's take a look at this one right here. We've got this anchor bolt sitting here. That one's probably fine. Let's hit control and then move. I don't know. We can probably put it anywhere. We could put it right there. I'd say just right here is fine. So, sure, 16 inches maybe. Okay. And then we named this one, of course, custom, so it doesn't get deleted. Okay. And now we've got our anchor bolts and all that sorted out, and we shouldn't have to mess with our foundation assembly anymore. Yeah, we should be good. Okay, so I turned on the insulation already for this front wall. As you can see, I did some of that yellow bat insulation. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for these other walls now. So edit wall assembly. Turning on the insulation is very simple. Just come down here to the advanced options, go here to wall cavity insulation, and you can choose your insulation types. So we got that. And I'm going to probably end up turning off that layer once we do this, because I want to be able to see kind of the framing as we proceed with the electrical stuff. So we got to kind of turn off the visibility of a few things as we go. Same thing here. This one's easy wall, edit wall assembly. Again, we could use the wall copy tool, but I don't know. We've only got so many walls, so it's not like it's that big a deal. Sometimes I just like to jump in here into the edit menus and hit it real quick, and then go to the next one. And let's go down here, turn on wall cavity insulation, turn on yellow fiberglass, and hit update. All right, so there's our building. We've got pressure treated. We've got our anchor bolts sorted out. We've also got our gypsum we're not showing on the walls. I think there was a couple things maybe I had kind of outstanding, but I can't remember what. You can see our casing and our trim for our windows is all there. Let's go ahead and put on, turn on the sheathing and the cladding just so we can see that. So now we can see it's fully sheathed out. Of course, that was always there, but it wasn't shown. And then last but not least, our cladding. And where did we turn that off? Right there. Okay. So you got some hardy board cladding there. So, that's pretty much framed up and ready to go. Notice I've set the cladding. It's hard to see it kind of on this edge, but it's set at miter. One thing I did want to do, though, was I did want to update this wall panel with some corner trim. So let's go ahead and do that while we got this going on here. So we turn on the trim option, and there's a lot of options here. I think we don't need all of these options. We're just going to put corner trim on, and yeah, we can play with some of these settings, but I think we'll just leave them as default for now. We're going to turn off the band board, turn off the freeze trim, turn off the, we just have a simple trim here, and skirt, drip cap, and all that other skirt boards. Oh yeah, turn the skirt board off. Let's see what that does for us. Okay, so there we go. So we just got ourselves a corner trim. Now notice that I have it set on the sheathing. You could have it set on the cladding, just kind of however you want to do that. I think that's fine. And we've got that set on that corner and that corner. If you set the trim on for these walls, you can do that. It's not going to hurt. But actually for corners, it's because it's an inset corner on the outside, it's not going to actually apply a trim because this wall's already has the trim. So yeah, we'll just leave those, don't worry about those. And then we'll just go to this back wall, same thing. And we'll scroll down here. We'll turn on the trim again. And we probably got to turn all this other stuff off. Band board, nope. Freeze board, no. And skirt board, no. Let's hit update on that. And there's our trim. Okay, so we've got it trimmed out. Looking pretty good. Let's save our file. And I suggest saving and saving often, as they often say. Sometimes SketchUp wants to act up on you, and sometimes like my computer's a little bit older and the video card's not as robust as some, and because of that I've managed to have what are called bug splats occasionally, and it's not so much the plugin and it's not even so much SketchUp, it's actually just my video card not being able to refresh properly when I update an assembly. And I especially notice that when I'm sometimes when I'm hitting the update button and then I'm trying to rotate or move the model in some way. I don't think typically you're not going to see that, with a good computer, but this computer of mine is getting a little dated, so it might be time to upgrade. Anyways, okay, so yeah, I think we're good there. I'm going to go ahead and just real quickly, I don't want to take a lot of time, turn the concrete back to its normal opacity, just so we can see kind of how things are looking. And there we go. Okay, so I think we're ready to put the roof on, and it's just a simple truss roof, if I remember right. Let's go to the cross-sectional view of that, just to take a look at that. Structural elevation sections, and here we go. So we've got ourselves just a 412 pitch with a standard common truss. How truss is actually what it is. And yeah, and some gutters. We'll put some gutters on there while we're at it. A 12-inch overhang, I think. It's pretty simple. Okay, so let's go ahead and give that a go. What I'm going to do, though, is before I do that, I'm going to turn off the wall sheathing and the wall cladding, just so I can see the framing better. So let's go ahead and turn off the wall cladding. And sometimes it doesn't jump out at me. And you know what? We're going to turn off the insulation layer as well, just because we don't need that on. All right, so there's our skeleton. And before I start with that, we'll save one more time. And then let's go here to the Truss plugin now. So the Truss plugin, we'll click Common Truss. And we'll go ahead and grab our corners. Oh, I should have turned off the trim, but I didn't. That's all right. We'll make do. And then we're going to have the gable in like so. And then we'll stretch out and grab that final corner. Okay, out down span 28, 412 pitch. Pretty much just keep all this default. Gable and trusses, yes. Advanced roof options, yes. And now we go into all the fun stuff. Okay, so roof sheathing material is fine. Let's change our sheathing material here to plywood, just because we have that on the walls already. And the rake board, everything looks pretty good there. Gable overhang, I think we were going to set that at 12 inches. So let's just go ahead and do that. And then outlookers, 2x4, yes. Structural outlookers, yes. I think that's what we had specified. And I think they were horizontally orientated. That's fine. Heel blocking, sure. Let's turn that on. And I don't know if it was vertical or angled. I don't think it really matters that much. And then the roof cladding, we'll just go with the default. Gable wall cladding, yeah, wall thickness. Okay, so the wall cladding material, we're going to match to our Booth Bay blue. And ceiling gypsum, yes, and gutters, yes. The rest of this we don't need. Okay, so I think we got. Granted, we can always edit all this, so we'll just go ahead and go with what we got here. And then heel block holes, sure. And we may have to adjust some of this later, but I don't think so. And then the gutter style. Downspout length, let's go ahead and just throw in the 144 inches. That doesn't have to be exact. I mean, the gutter guy is going to figure out that anyways, but just so it looks representative. Okay, and let it do its thing. And I think we had the gutters turned on. Yes, we did. Or did we? Maybe not. I thought we had gutters turned on. Or maybe I have that layer turned off. All right, well, I don't see the gutters drawn, but we'll take a look at that. I'm going to turn on this just to make my Ruby console, just to check things as we rebuild. Anyways, there's the roof. And as you can see, if we turn on the wall cladding and sheathing again, we should have our gable walls drawn as well. So let's just check that real quick here. Wall sheathing, turn that back on, yes. And wall cladding. Not the roof cladding, sorry. Wall cladding, I have a hard time finding. There's just so many layers here now. Okay, it's fine. If we don't like the way things line up like this, we can always, there's an offset feature for the cladding on the wall plugin, so you can adjust how this vertically and horizontally aligns the texture. But I'm not overly concerned with that right now. Bottom line is we got ourselves a roof. It looks good. And now what we're going to do actually is we're going to hide the foundation assembly. Right? And we'll just go hide this one. And what you can do is you can see now what we've got. But before we jump into the electrical, let's take just one last little peek at this this truss assembly. So we can edit the truss assembly, and I see I had the downspouts turned off. That's the problem. Let's turn them on now. That's why I didn't draw those. There we go. Okay. So again, yeah, you can get in here, you can edit. The nice thing about the plugin, of course, is it's all parametric for the most part, and you can get in and you can change things up once you've drawn them, and you don't have to sit there and keep recreating them and deleting them and that sort of thing. So yeah, we just had forgot to draw the downspout option. Okay, so now you can see the downspouts are drawn, and they kind of do clash with the with that siding, but that's not a big deal. It's more, the gutters, are kind of more representative than anything else. So that's kind of my take on that. But anyways, that's the roof. I mean, there's not really a whole lot more to talk about other than that. Oh, yeah, I did kind of want to just show you, though, real quick. If we turn off the roof cladding and we go ahead and turn off the roof sheathing as well. Of course, we got the drywall in there, but we also have the structural outlookers that I showed you or talked about earlier. And if I turn off the wall sheathing and wall cladding, you can see that they're drawn correctly. Sorry, there's just a lot of layers to turn on and off. I spend too much time doing that. Also, we have our soffit and fascia drawn, our finished soffit and fascia. We have the sub fascia here, but we also have the regular soffit and fascia all boxed out nice. And we can change, how these corners are configured as far as that goes as well. But yeah, you've got your bird, I don't know what you call them, your bird holes. That's typically what ends up getting in those things as birds. But you got all the blocking shown, and we even have the H1 hold downs holding the rafters down. So those are all on all the rafters here. And notice on the other side, same deal. So again, the hold downs for the rafters, if you go into the Truss plugin, you can turn on the truss connector plates and the seismic hurricane ties, and here's where you specify having these on or not. So you don't do it per assembly, but you actually do it in the global settings. So you can turn those on and off, and you can actually switch to these other ones as well. The 2.5As are pretty popular, but I tend to like actually the H1s. I think they're a better product. All right. Yeah, we'll just leave that as is for now. We'll save again, and let's see, we're 19 minutes in, and I do want to finish up with the electrical now. So I think what we'll do, we'll start by just hiding this assembly, and we'll make it visible when we're ready for it. So what we want to do is we want to get in here and talk about the electrical plan. And I am going to take just a little break so I can get myself oriented and pull up the electrical plan and just kind of review it so I'm clear as what we're doing here. Okay, so we're back. I'm getting ready to do electrical now, and I just noticed as I was about ready to do it that I didn't have a particular light fixture I wanted for the exterior light fixtures of this garage, and you can see that we've got 4 of them here shown on the plan. So what I've gone ahead and done is I've found a file on the warehouse, SketchUp warehouse, and basically, I wasn't really excited about it, so it took me a little while to adjust it, I guess, and change the poly count to make it a little more agreeable. And so basically what I've got is now I need to add that into the library so that I can actually use it with the electrical extension. So what you can do is if you jump into your what do you call it here? Your SketchUp folder. You'll notice that you can basically you can get into here, and under plugins, you'll find the electrical plugin, and then within that you'll find the library, and then light fixtures. And then I've got a bunch of them here, but the surface one is the one we want to drop it into. Okay, so I've got a bunch of basic light fixtures, and you can add in as many as you like in here, but I'm just going to cut this and drop that in there. So let's go ahead and drop that in. And now I'll just go ahead and close that folder out. When we use the plugin now, we should be able to have that pop up. So I'm going to go ahead now and add a light. Exterior light, and just click the light button here, and light fixture style surface 72 inches from the ground, and let's just go with the default 518 there. And then notice that we have all these lights. I'm going to go ahead and use that one. Eventually what I want to do is add in a little preview screen so you can see exactly which ones these are, because it's kind of hard to remember what all the different light fixtures are. And then as I mouse over, I have the cladding and sheathing turned off actually, so I can see where the stud's landing, and that kind of helps with lining things up. The way the mount is going to work is right now if I set it at 0 rotation, it's going to want to nail to this side of the stud, and that's fine. But what I want to do is I want to position it right. And you'll notice it's right now it's centering up on the light fixture, or the light box really. So what I can do is as I get my mouse over here on this wall, I can hit the control key, and that will toggle me. You'll notice I can line it up on that side, or I can go back to center, or I can line it back up on this side. So that's what I want. So let's go ahead and try that, and then I'm just going to click, and you can see that we just created a light fixture. And you can see that the nailers are nailing into that stud. Now, we don't have to be that particular if we don't want, but I'm just showing you if you really want to get into it. Okay, so on this wall, same sort of deal, but now we are going up high, because if we looked here at our plan, we notice that those ones are probably another foot off the ground or so, just for cosmetic reasons, I guess. I don't know. Maybe even 96 inches off the ground. I don't know. Let's just try 96, see what we end up with. And that puts us right in the way of the blocking. Okay, well, let's try 92 then. How's that? Maybe that'll be a little easier. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so, and that's not quite centered up. So I don't know exactly how the electricians, block these out so they center up, or maybe they get the other type of boxes that span across studs and that sort of thing. So that is something that needs to be worked out. Okay, so on this side we need to actually turn off that engineering layer. So the wall engineering layer right here will allow us to turn off that so we can work with that. And in this case, actually let's do this one first while we got it. We've got an extra stud here, so I don't know exactly how that's going to work, but In this case, we probably want this one to either nail on this side or this side. I don't know. This is probably doable for us for our purposes. So anyways, that's the 4 lights, you know, and obviously the distance, you want them, you know, for aesthetic reasons to line up properly. I can't really tell in these side ones. They don't look like they're quite perfect, but this one's obviously out of whack. So what we can do actually is just, if we take and draw a line between kind of halfway here, we could probably position this a little better. You know, personally, it doesn't really matter as far as positioning within the wall. The thing about the electrical components, which is kind of nice, is if you click into this wall and you push it over a little bit, it doesn't matter. Like, you can do that. That's not going to hurt anything. You can, and then you can regen the wall, and that's going to maintain its position within the wall. So I'm not going to worry too much about centering those up exact, other than I think, you know, it's aesthetically, you probably want to space them a little similar. This one here, I'm going to move over just a bit. Let's see, let's try that. Let's just say 1 inch. Okay. And you'll notice too that with the electrical plugin, it's taken into account the sheathing and cladding, or should be, with this exterior wall. So you can see that it's spaced off of the wall some. And if we turn back on that sheathing, let's see if we can do that real quick here. I always have a hard time finding my layers. So you can see that there's the sheathing, and then if you turn on the cladding, it should be resting pretty much right on the surface, like it should. Yeah, so you can see it's right on the surface. So overall, I mean, the effect is pretty good. Again, I think this one may be off just a bit. So we'll just take and push that over a little bit more. Even just 0.5 of an inch. You can always key in your dimensions right there, which is kind of nice. And you'll find too with electrical components, if you they're actually kept within the wall panel. They're part of that wall panel assembly. So if you move that wall, that all the electrical goes with it. And the plugin automatically recognizes that that's an electrical component, and it will keep it and won't destroy it when you regen the wall. Okay, last but not least, let's turn off the gypsum and the interior, and let's see if we can't get that to work. So I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, so now basically we want to, let's turn off the gypsum because we can lay things out a little better with the gypsum turned off. On the plan, on the electrical plan, I noticed that we had a box over here. I mean, we could put it anywhere, I guess. It really doesn't matter. Wherever the service comes in, I suppose. If we want to put in a service panel, we just click right here. Actually, no, it's the low voltage service panel. Here's the one we want, the load center. And yeah, we've got a bunch of service panels here, 100 amp, 200 amp, that sort of thing. Main breaker. Okay, so we've got a bunch of options here. I don't want to worry too much about it. Let's just go with a 40 space panel. I don't know that we even need that much for this small of a garage. Probably not. Let's go with 30. And there's a bunch of options here. I'm not going to get into all of those. The nice thing is you just need to kind of mouse over the wall and line up on this block here and then drop it in there. Okay. And of course that block coincides with that panel, but you know, you'd end up chopping that out of there and figuring it out. So anyways, there's our service panel, 200 amp service panel. All right, and now let's go ahead and add a few outlets in. So outlets, I think we had specified they need to be 18 inches off the floor because it's the garage. Let's go look at our plan here real quick. So we've noticed we've got GFCI outlets all around off the floor. I guess that's what's code these days, is those GFCI outlets. Ground fault circuit interrupt is what that means. So let's go ahead and see if we can't add a few of those in. 18 inches off the floor. We'll just leave everything as default. And we've got a bunch of different receptacles here we can use. So we'll go with the GFCI. And let's see, I'm going to refer to my plan here as I go ahead and add these in. But I'm not going to worry too much about placement other than just kind of get them roughly centered where they need to be. So we're going to put one here. Again, same thing. If we want to line it up on the stud, hit the control key. Okay, so that drops one in there. Notice it's dropping the symbol in as well. I'm going to put another one here kind of toward this side. And then maybe another one over here on this stud here. Okay, same thing on this side. Now we're going to drop, let's drop in one. I don't know, we don't need one too close to that corner, do we? So we'll just drop one on this stud and maybe another one over here. And I don't know, we'll put a couple on this wall, I guess, just to have them here. Put one in this corner. Okay, so on this one I actually want to line up on that stud, so we'll hit the control key a couple times. So our alignment's aligned there. And then let's take a look here, get this out of the way. There's really not enough room to put one there in that corner, I would think. Let's see, so we've got, I'll probably put one on this stud here. And then I'm just trying to space them out judiciously here. And then maybe one more right there. That looks pretty good. Okay, so it's a little bit different than our original layout, but it's pretty close. Bottom line is we got our outlets in there now. And let's see if we can put a switch in. So we need to put a switch right here by the door. If we noticed here in our thing, we have, or in our plan, we've got a couple switches there. One for the outside light, one for the inside lights. Okay, so let's see here. Where's our switches? Right here. And we've got a double gang switch. Just regular single pole switch is fine. We don't need anything fancy. 48 inches off the floor. That's pretty standard. And again, we could put it there. We could put it there. We probably put it closer to the door than anything. You got to get your mouse over the thing. You don't want this highlighted. You want the main window highlighted so you can hit the control key. Okay, so now we've lined it up, and there's our switches. Okay, and then let's take a look here. Okay, so we got the switches in. We've got our outlets in. The only thing we're really missing now is the I've got shown here is I've got a couple plugs in the ceiling, and I've got the let's see, the ceiling lights, right? A couple ceiling lights, just standard light bulbs, I guess. You know, we could get more exotic than that, but I think for this intents and purposes, we'll just kind of keep it simple. So let's see, when we want to turn on, to do that, we probably want to turn on our ceiling. So we'll unhide everything. And let's hide this. We have to get underneath this thing. So we're going to hide the foundation again real quick. And then, yeah, let's... Actually, you know what we probably should do is take this grid and move it up by 12 feet. So we have it there to see kind of where it'll help us lay things out a little better. Hopefully that would help. Hard to say though. And that's kind of why I drew these other lines to help me lay out the outlets, but I didn't really use them. So let's go ahead and just move that up by 144 inches. I think that went up 144 inches. No, it didn't. Oh, we went the wrong direction. Okay, so undo move. Okay, and then let's turn on our gypsum here. Okay, and so now we've got it on that face. We want to pull that down just a ½ inch so it's sitting right on the face. Makes that things a little easier for us. Okay. And hopefully that lines up on the face of that gypsum. Yes, it does. Okay, excellent. Right, so now we just need to throw some plugs and some some light bulbs in there. And so for doing that, what we do is go back to the light tool. And now we're going to do a surface light again, but instead of doing wall, we're going to do ceiling. And we are going to, we'll use these boxes for now. There are other boxes we can use, and I'm not going to go through all those right now. But what we want to do is we want to switch now to, notice I have a C and a W for this Leviton light fixture or luminaire. I'm going to go with the ceiling version, hit update, and then I'm also going to change the opacity of the gypsum just so we can see that. Don't have to, but if I can find it, of course. Here we go. So I'm going to change this to a little more transparent so we can see what's going on. All right, and then back to my light fixture tool. Where did that go? Maybe I turned it off. Okay, well, I was doing something else, so that's fine. I'll just turn it back on. Okay, so we've got the Leviton ceiling light, and we've got a ceiling. You got to choose, make sure you choose ceiling, otherwise it will try to mount the box vertically on the wall type of a deal, and we don't want that. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, sure, that'll work. I think that'll work anyways. Okay, so the lights, really it's just a matter of putting them kind of in the center, I guess. I don't know where that center is specifically, but we'll try there, see how that looks. Okay, and then you can see the box kind of is not really lined up, but I think the electricians can probably sort out the exact details of where they want that to go. I'm just going to line it up basically on the door. So basically it's coming off that door, and then we'll put it on the same kind of situation over here. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure that alignment is perfect, but it probably isn't. All right, we can always move them, of course. That's the beauty of this. Okay, and so now let's go ahead and try adding in those ceiling outlets. So ceiling outlets are, as far as the electrical plugin is concerned, is not really any different than a floor outlet. So we have a system for that, and we just click Draw Floor Outlet. And there's a bunch of different types, but I'm just going to go with a basic 15 amp ground floor outlet. Let's try that one and hit update. Okay, and now we see that if we want to center ourselves up on this garage, kind of say right about garage door. I think the garage door opener is typically behind it, so maybe it's more here, there. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. So we'll set that right there. And somewhere those outlets went, and I don't know where they went. I'm not entirely sure where they went. I thought I put them in there. All right, let me pause the video, and I will get right back. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know if I was hitting the grid line or what, but it wasn't liking it. I'm just going to go ahead and line up on this grid as best I can. And you can see that it just generated that outlet. And same on this side now. We need to get kind of lined up in the center of this door, maybe a foot back or so. Yeah, it's a little touch and go, but anyways, I think we got it. Yeah, and I don't know that I have my lights here lined up exactly right. So I think I'll measure that for a second here and figure out where that needs to live exactly. because it doesn't quite look right. Well, you know what it is? It's really it's because the doors themselves are offset. That's why it's throwing me off. Okay, so they are kind of lined up in the right spot, it looks like. It's just that they're offset. The doors are not centered on the building, and so I'm looking at that and saying, why aren't those lights centered? And that explains why now. Okay. Anyways, long story short, you'll notice now that the outlet symbols and the light symbols are positioned on the kind of on the floor, as well as all the other light symbols. And then just kind of as one final step, if you like, you can create what's called electrical legend. And you just click this little legend button, and it figures out everything that's kind of in the, oh, there's our extraneous light. We can delete that. There was a couple of them created there. Well, that's where they were getting dropped, I guess. So for some reason, it was finding them there. Anyways, back to this. So basically, the electrical symbol legend. So it will tell you, it'll drop all the items that are in the thing, and you can reposition this anywhere in your model. And then if you regen it or whatever, it's not going to move. So like, let's say we drop it right there, and then if we click this and regenerate. Actually, that's the wrong thing. Sorry, that's a shear wall thing. If we regen the legend, it will basically keep it there. So one last item I was going to add in that wasn't added in into the thing is one additional outlet. And we'll just keep it 18 from the wall. I wanted to put an exterior outlet, actually, a weatherproof GFCI. I'm going to hit update. And then if we, let's see, we should turn off the cladding, I guess, so we can position that properly. Let's see here. Sorry, I've got too much going on. And wall cladding. Sorry, right there. And the wall sheathing as well. Okay, here we go. I'll get back in business. I'm just going to kind of put it by the door there. It doesn't really matter. I was going to put it there just because it's kind of nice to have one of those outlets. And I just want to show it off a little bit. Okay, so now we've got ourselves a GFCI outlet with an external little case over it, so it keeps it weatherproof. And there you have it. That's kind of pretty much everything. Let's of course, now we need to regen this because we've just added a GFCI. So if we click this again, you're going to notice now that you've got this GFCI weatherproof outlet added as well. So now we have added that to the symbols legend. Okay, I think we're pretty much done. This video got just a little longer than I'd hoped. I'm going to go ahead and delete this now. The grid, I don't think, well, actually, I'll just hide that grid. You can delete things, you can hide things, however you want to do it. Actually, what you probably should do is unhide all first, and then go ahead and hide the stuff that you don't want to show. I want that gone, and I want that gone. And then, yeah, I think we're pretty much good to go here. We got the gypsum. I'm going to just turn that off. One last look at the whole exterior, all the framing. I'm not entirely happy with the position of my lights. I think we could do a little better on that. Take a little more time, but for the purposes of this video, I don't want to spend a lot of time laying those out. I think the main thing to show is that you can get them in there, and then and like I said, they're part of this assembly. Like, these lights are now part of that assembly, and you can actually get in there, and I'll show you this. I don't want to get all the way into the assembly. I just want to get in. I just want to get into this roof assembly. So now you can actually grab these guys and move them if you need to. So let's say you want to move that this way a little bit, or that way a little bit. You can reposition things. And if you regen this assembly, then no big deal. Also, if you do move that, you notice that that one did not move. But let's, if we click Edit, this electrical item. Oh, we're inside the assembly. We can't do that. Sorry. So Sorry about that. Let's undo that. Oh, I deleted it. That's why I didn't click the right button. Okay, that's the delete button. Yeah, sorry. Edit. If you click the edit one and you mouse over that, and if you hit update, now when we hit update, watch what happens to this little guy down here, the symbol. Notice it shifted over just a little bit, so it realigned itself with the actual light fixture as necessary. And maybe this this little mount is not quite right, so maybe you need to rotate that box a little bit. And in this case, we're going to want to rotate that 270, I guess, right? Is that right, or am I not doing that right? I thought we were at 180. 90? I don't know. I can't. Maybe we're rotating something else here. I don't know. Let's try that one more time. I just saw it rotate, so I don't know why it did not rotate. Oh, the light rotation is probably what I was playing with. Sorry. 270 on the box rotation. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now you can see we've rotated that light, and we've got it kind of lined up where we want. So there's a lot of little tweaking and fiddling you can do with this thing. I'm just going to move that guy over a little bit more. And then I'm going to edit him, and oops, sorry. Got to jump out of the group. Can't be in the group. And then click edit, and then mouse over it, highlight it, and rotate it. I think it was 270 we wanted, right? Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, and that's pretty much it. For these boxes, yeah, you probably have to put one of those little hanger pieces or something across there. Take care of that. So let's go ahead and turn all our layers back on, and I think we're done. So we can turn our gypsum back on. We can turn on our engineering layer. We can turn on our sheathing. We can turn on our insulation and our roof sheathing. I mean, there's just it's all these layers, and then cladding. So what I haven't shown now is taking this now into layout, right? So from here, you've got yourself a pretty decent model. It's pretty clean, pretty well laid out. So what you want to do is you want to take this into layout, and I don't have any plugins or ways of automating layout because layout does not yet have a real-time API. So the problem there is that you're kind of left to your own devices. I mean, not to say that it's that much of a problem. It's just a matter of you need to be familiar enough with layout, create your scenes here in SketchUp, and then take your scenes and drop them. Your elevation views, your floor plans, your sections, all that's good stuff, and create your applicable scenes. And then from there, you've got your construction documents. But that's pretty much it, I think. We've modeled this thing pretty much as fully as I want to explore it. I mean, you could take it another level and add wiring and internal devices, furniture, etc., cars, anything you want to add just to show the scale. But I think for the intents and purposes of this video, I think we've probably gone far enough. So anyways, if you have any questions or comments or additional feature requests, please let me know. I'm always open to that. And once again, thank you for your support.